Welcome to the live stream, everybody. Bitcoin has been seeing some great volatility lately, so I know it's not necessarily good if you are perma bull, but just any volatility is good volatility if you are an active trader like myself. So much more exciting than when things are just trading along sideways forever. So I've been loving this, and I'm sure most of you guys have been as well, who are with me right now, because I know all of you guys are active traders. But yeah, taking a look at things on the Bitcoin chart here, I was actually saying in my previous stream that I thought there was a good chance we were in some kind of a rising wedge here. Now, full disclosure, I did want to see a third touch point of that trend line before getting that break, but you know what? We don't always get what we want. Even on smaller time frames, I think, what was it, the 4 hour? No, maybe it was the 1 hour. You can see just how perfectly we flipped that support into resistance and just absolutely dumped from there. So, they're just, even though we never got the third touch point that I wanted, the fact that we were respecting it on the from the underside there, I mean, that's just textbook technical analysis. Maybe the fact that, it's a daily, weekly trend line, a longer time frame like that, maybe it doesn't quite need that third touch point that I'm used to with smaller time frames. Because you guys know, generally speaking, I like trading the 1 minute, the 5 minute, kind of the 1 hour would be kind of on a macro scale to me, as I'm going to call it. I just prefer scalping. Just obviously, everyone has their own trading styles that works for them, and I'm more of a scalper than a swing trader. So I actually did catch most of this swing from a scalp I entered, because one thing I love to do is I love to take partial profits very quickly when I'm trading short time frames. But I'm very quick to take partial profits, but then I like to leave some of my position run, because sometimes you catch those runners unexpectedly and it can just be a beautiful thing. So you're kind of catching a little bit of both. So you are making sure that you lock in some profits, because you're not always looking for those home run trades, but at least that way you are able to catch those home run trades. So I think I hit something like, this was a 69x trade that I took actually from this blue dotted line up here. I'm not in that trade anymore, but I took a 69x short. Sorry, I think I said long there. Based on the 1 hour trend test on a much shorter time frame. It was on the 1 minute chart, but this red line here, that would be the 1 hour trend EMA there. And we touched it on the 1 minute, kind of got started hovering around there, got rejected. I was able to enter a short with a stop loss that was about $30 away, and I caught over a $4,000 move with that. So just one of the ways that these indicators can be so useful, and just like I said, letting a position run. So obviously I was taking profits the whole way down. It's not like I had a big chunk of my position left down here or anything, but I did manage to catch this move. So that was absolutely beautiful. But yeah, as far as just zooming over to the 4 hour chart, one thing that is, I mean, really quite nice to see, in my opinion, is that if we look at this more macro scale, actually, let's even zoom out to the daily. Yes, we did have this upward sloping trend line. I'm actually going to get rid of that at this point. One thing that we had going for us is we had this high here. We did technically break that here, setting a higher high. It was a bit of a failed break, but we did get some candle bodies closing above this level here on the daily time frame. So technically this would now be our confirmed higher low, and that's exactly where this dump ended. Like pinpoint accurate. That is just a beautiful thing as far as technicals go. Is this level going to hold? I mean, we're going to have to see. So far, it looks like we're getting a beautiful bounce here. Even if I were to drop this yellow line here, just seeing that we had this little bit of resistance here, and it does look like, well, I mean, what is it, 42 minutes until the daily close. Obviously, anything can happen. But the fact that we're above that and looking like we're going to close above that, that is a beautiful looking daily candle, in my opinion. So, even if we do get some kind of a bounce, there is going to be a few things to watch for. Obviously, watching that very important support line to flip into resistance. Again, just looking for that flip. If we do get some kind of a bounce to the upside, maybe retest this line, as well as we'd kind of be testing just somewhere in this resistance here. I mean, where would basically our lower high is kind of this whole range here. I mean, I think there's absolutely the possibility that we get some kind of a bounce and we almost retest this diagonal support as resistance right as we start running into horizontal resistance. If that happens, I'm going to very aggressively be looking for shorts. Obviously, I'm still going to look at how those levels are reacted with. I don't like setting blind orders. I really like to set alerts at levels that I'm interested in watching, and I make my alerts go every single minute. I don't care if it's the middle of the night or whatever. I want to be woken up if that's the case, and just to check out what's going on. And that's kind of where I start looking for those the break in structure on a very micro time frame on the 1 minute, for example. Looking for those reversal warnings at those important levels, seeing which way the W's on a shorter time frame start trending, all those sorts of things that I start watching for at those levels, and that's when I'd be looking to pull the trigger. Also Fibonacci's, if I just take a fib from swing high here down to swing low, you guys know I love the 786, 886 Fibonacci pocket, and that would actually show our resistance a little bit higher. That's actually my lower high on the daily here, the top of this first yellow box I mapped out. Actually, just to make things a little bit more clear here, the top of this yellow box, I mean, it lines up perfectly with the 786 retrace of this dump. So, I mean, definitely some levels worth watching there, in my opinion. Another trend line that I have been keeping my eye on a little bit would be, let's just see what we can do here. Let's change it to white as it's one of my longer time frames. You know, looking at something like that is where, you know, there start watching for, I'm not saying we have to get rejected from this level. I mean, the last time we touched this trend line was a very long time ago, but it does look like we're also respecting this, even just really microanalyzing candle by candle here. That there's no doubt about it that we did see a rejection there. On shorter time frames, it would be more obvious, but even now where we're starting to struggle a little bit, I mean, we're kind of getting close to that level, so that's another trend line worth watching, I think. You know, even though we're getting this very nice engulfing close here, that is nice, but just a couple things to be a little bit cautious about is all I'm saying. Again, I don't really care which way this market goes. I'm zoomed in on shorter time frames. I'm mostly kind of been playing whichever direction the 1 hour trend has been. And if I just bring up the 1 minute chart here, have I got stopped out of that yet? Yes, I think I actually did. And it might have been a little bit tight on my stop loss, but the fact I was going to be distracted with you guys here and whatnot, I will hopefully get into another position during this stream. But yeah, so far today, the volatility's been good. I've been getting in some nice trades, so hopefully we can get into another one here soon. As it stands right now, again, this is very micro-analyzing. But we do have a nice little uptrend going here. I had mentioned in the Discord that I had taken a bit of a hedge long before. I did close it already. But what led me to take that was I was just following this downtrend, you guys. So we had this low. We broke it with this low. So this set our lower high. After we broke this level, then obviously this was our new lower high. Then here's where we bottomed out, ended up breaking that level again. So this was our lower high. Then we ended up breaking this low as well, making this our lower high. And again, that's very micro analyzing. That's looking at a direct swing, not a bunch of bouncing around or anything, just very micro analyzing there. But yeah, as soon as we got that candle close above that, then I was able to have my invalidation down here. And yeah, basically we just went up from there. As soon as we ended up closing above this level, then we have a new invalidation point. And as I'm trading the 1 minute and I'm scalping like that, basically I'm just chasing the price with my stop loss very quickly when I'm looking at scalping positions like that. So again, you know, after we broke this level, we set this level. Here would have been our low. Again, just notice how even on the 1 minute, that structure is not breaking. When you're really chasing it like that, even that structure alone is not breaking. The next time we would have broke this level would have been right here. This would then have been our higher low. You know what? Maybe I should use a proper line here. But so this yellow line was our higher low. after we ended up breaking this level, then we can obviously move it up a little bit. Notice it still never did break there. This would be the only time where we did have this little bit of a fake out, is we did actually finally end up breaking that structure, and then we obviously broke this level, and now we just kind of have a new higher low if we're really microanalyzing things here. Here, I'm actually going to remove my drawings here, or maybe even just give us a reload here, go back to my original here. 1 minute, zoom right in like the degens that we are. See, even though we have a reversal warning here, I don't really want to take this short now, because as far as this trend goes, obviously we broke this high here. So now this yellow line is basically our new confirmed higher low. And this is just a 1 minute swing, so it absolutely doesn't hold very long. But if we do pull back to these levels now at this point, now that we did sweep this high here with actual candle closes, not just wicks, if we get back down to these levels and start finding support, I will be interested in trying to scalp along at these levels. I also want to see what the W's are doing. We could also take a stab at a bit of a scalp long if we see a higher W come into play on the bottom side, just because we have now, actually, you know what, that would be a little messy, just because we did, we had these W's trending higher, but then we ended up setting a lower high there, and the W's are kind of giving mixed signals right now. It's not always going to line up perfectly, so sometimes you have to wait a little bit. But the fact that we did end up getting a higher high with these W's, it would be great to see that we get a higher bottom W, especially if we found it kind of around this support level. With using this strategy that I talk about pretty much every stream, I've been kind of fine-tuning it a little bit as we go. I find that if, let's say we were to get another W here, yes, it is true that the top ones have started trending up again. Yes, it's true that our bottoms would be trending up in that case if we get one. But I don't like that we kind of have this mix-up in the middle of it. I would... Quite honestly, I would rather see us set, let's say, some kind of a W here and then another W here. And that way we would just have all of our W's would be trending to the upside, right? We wouldn't have anything, any mixed signals in between. So that's something I like to look for too if I'm being really picky. Right now, if we get a higher W on the bottom, I'm probably going to swing at a scalp long anyways, just because, I mean, it's more exciting to be in trades during these streams than to not be. Being I'll be distracted with you guys, I'll probably put in a smaller position, but it's just nice to be able to show you guys how I use these strategies, because these are just strategies I've made up on my own, using these indicators, just things that I've noticed over time. And you guys can tell I keep my charts fairly clean with these indicators. The only signals I really have are these W's, which are the reversal warnings. I have the supply and demand zones, these red and green boxes. And I have the 5 minute volume weighted moving average as trend 1, and I have the 1 hour EMA as trend 2. Now there's no guaranteed way that it's going to work better or worse or anything like that. There's not really any magical numbers as far as I'm concerned. It's more so just finding out what your eye is able to catch, because we could have the same indicators, same settings, same trend lines. We could have the absolute identical charts, and we may end up playing them completely different, right? So it's important to do your own back testing, find out what works for you. But I'm just showing you guys these strategies that I have come up with because I think they're quite simple. They are fairly structured. Like, as I said, I've been fine-tuning it a little bit, so it's not like I've been using these strategies for years or anything like that, but I like to share them with you guys, and I know that other people have had luck with these strategies as well, so it's nice to see that, and yeah, just show you guys kind of how I use them. But one of my favorite things to do, honestly, this looked like a beautiful scalp opportunity. One of my favorite things with these indicators, one is that W strategy, like I was just talking about, which way they're trending. Two is just seeing those rejections with a reversal warning right along one of the trends. The one thing, and before I started streaming, I mentioned in the Bitcoin chat there, the one thing that I did not like about this reversal warning is the fact that we did have these W's trending to the upside. I would have been a lot more confident in this setup had we had this high back here, and our next W would have been as we actually retested that trend with the W like that. I think that would have gave me a lot more confidence in it. As it stands right now, yeah, obviously my stop loss was super tight on the rest of my position. Maybe this still would be a decent position because, like, based on structure, I mean, your stop loss could have been above this level. But since I was already in a scalp, I had already taken profits on part of the position. I really just didn't feel like taking a loss at that point. So, and since I entered, or after adding to my position, my entry was 26,512, so then I just ended up setting my stop loss to break even there. So because like I said, I was going to be distracted with this stream and whatnot. But does anyone have any questions about how I look at the higher highs, higher lows, same with on the other end, lower lows, lower highs, my strategy with these? Should we actually, you know what, I am going to swing at a little bit of a long. You know what, why not? I don't have one of my strategies, like one of my ALGO 3 strategies, other than the fact that we have this. This is more of a warning than anything. It's not actually a buy signal with my strategy because the bottom ones don't line up with it. But just the fact that we also, like I said, as far as this trend goes, this green line is the higher low. I can have a nice tight stop loss right now, so I may as well just throw in a little bit of a long while I'm with you guys. I just wanted to be clear about a couple of the risks on that. Obviously, my W's, like I said, the bottom ones, we don't have a higher low yet. Sorry, just give me 1 second here. Yeah, we don't have the higher low yet. You know, we could come back down and test this 5-minute trend. Absolutely. There's a lot of things that could go wrong with this trade, so I'm going to keep it quite small. But this is just based off structure alone. We're just going to see if these higher highs and higher lows keep coming, right? Because we had this high here, we broke it, have this high here. This is our lowest point between the two, so this is our confirmed higher low. And we're just going to see if that ends up holding. Ideally, when looking for this kind of a setup, I mean, I think I'm gonna ladder in, actually break my order into a few parts, just to try and drop my average entry if we do get a pullback all the way to this trend line. Because ideally when I go for this setup, obviously I'm kind of rushing it just because I'm live with you guys and I want to keep things interesting here. But what I really like with this position, and if I can't get a perfect entry like that for a really tight stop loss, I'll just kind of ladder in my position in about 3 parts just to kind of try and drop the average entry a little bit. And that's not to be confused with tripling down on a position. That is breaking a position up. So just rather than building my risk, I'm just trying to minimize it a little bit. But yeah, ideally when you're looking for this kind of higher low setup, what you'd want to see now that we broke above this level, you'd really like to see us come right back down and then start closing some green candle bodies around that level. Ideally not even wicking below. A wick isn't a huge deal. As soon as you're closing candle bodies below that, that's where just my rules, I'm considering it broken, and that may be a change in structure. So at that point, I don't really want to be in a long. That's more so where I'd want to see some kind of a pullback and end up shorting some structure levels instead. But as it stands right now, let's just see if this trend can keep going. The daily close looked beautiful, and we can have a nice tight stop here. Basically just below 26.4. I might be tightening it up too much once again, just because, like I said, I mean, we do have this demand zone down here, so maybe we do come down a little bit further. But just for this specific trade setup that I'm going for, I'm just kind of looking for my own rules, just really keeping my risk tight. So I'm going to have my stop loss, yeah, just below 26.4. Hopefully I don't piss away my profits from the last couple hours. But let's fucking go, Leggies. Let's fucking go. What other kind of trend lines can we look at? Something like that. Again, very micro-analyzing things here. See if we can pop some support off that level. That's just to show where we ended up breaking our structure here. Setting a higher high. Now, I know a lot of people may actually consider this a higher low. Although that can be seen as a higher low, and yes, breaking that structure is kind of is sometimes where you end up all of a sudden starting a downtrend. It's not a confirmed higher low. I don't consider it a confirmed level until we actually break the new highs. So let's say we would have ended up breaking this level from here, then I would have considered this a higher low. But since it never did, just as it stands right now, here's our high, here's our higher high, here's our higher low, as far as the way I'm looking at it. Hopefully that makes sense. Stop me if anything's not making sense. What are the algos saying? Algo 3 is looking a little bit bearish. It just started this little supply zone, as well as this this little blue triangle, which is a potential top. I'm actually going to change the color on those. Where was that? Bottoms and tops, that sounds right. There, they just stand out a little bit better if they're bright yellow like that. Yeah. Let me just catch up on some messages here. I've been totally ignoring those by accident. Bullish in the near term. Going to see if we make a lower high or if we make a higher high. Good call, good call. Waiting to see what Kieran says. That's a good call. He is a very good trader. Confused, very unpredictable, and not sure if I should stay out right now. You know what? That's totally fair. I am not confident on either direction as far as the mid to long term right now, and that's why I've been preferring scalping. Just because I can play a scalp with a lot less of a bias. Just because I find that since I can keep my stop losses so tight and that kind of thing, especially when you're looking at very tight structure on a 1 minute like this. Yeah, I just don't worry about the scalping as much. And that's like the whole art of war. I say this almost every stream. Know your enemy. I'm my greatest enemy. And I like to, FOMO the odd time and stuff like that. So yeah, I just find that if I shouldn't say FOMO, I should say panic on the other side is I'm scared to, I often update my stop losses too soon, and that's where scalping is great for me because it's totally okay to do that. Whereas if you're looking for a swing, I mean that you can wait for such a long time for a position, and then if you update your stop loss too quick, too tight, then all of a sudden you've lost how much time of income basically. Whereas with a scalp, it's like, hey, you know what? If this trade doesn't work out, I can probably find another one in a couple hours, honestly. Either with the ALGO 3, either of my ALGO 3 strategies or just looking at basic structure, anything like that. So that's just why I prefer scalping. I don't know. Like I said, art of war, know your enemy. I am my greatest enemy, so I just learned to battle myself. Found out what works for me, right? Trading the 1 minute, absolutely not for everybody. It's dangerous. It leads to over leveraging, over trading, revenge trading. It leads to all those things that we're supposed to avoid. So understand that I'm mainly doing these streams when I break down the degen behaviors here. I'm mostly doing it on the 1 minute just because it's easier for me to show you guys live these strategies I use, because obviously we can't be watching the charts live on a ridiculously longer time frame on a 4 hour or anything like that. I'm just showing you the strategies I use, but I mean, charts basically work the same on all time frames. I mean, a 1 minute chart is going to look just like a 4 hour chart, which looks just like a weekly chart. So these strategies, I know I've seen them work on longer time frames as well. But yeah, obviously it's just easier on the 1 minute to show it happening live. Sometimes, yes, when you're looking at the 1 minute, you have to be very responsive. Sometimes if you wait a minute or even 30 seconds, all of a sudden your position, like, you just don't have that optimal entry anymore. Sometimes you do for several minutes, but quite often you don't. So that's where it's hard for, you have to stay ahead of things. Like if I'm looking at entering a position, usually I will have my other device open and basically have an order set. And as soon as the right 1 minute candle closes that checks my criteria, then I just enter the position right then and there, right on the candle close, basically within a second or two. So that's just kind of what you have to do on the 1 minute. Sometimes it can change so fast. And I know that's why I say quite often to you guys is very rarely I actually share my scalps in real time, because I honestly think it's a little bit dangerous, because by the time I enter my position, I take a screenshot, I break down what I'm looking at for you guys. It might be a couple minutes later, and the entry I was looking at, like by the time I update my stop loss so quickly, so often, that position may already be ship sailed. You guys, I am actually going to drop my stop loss a little bit. Normally I don't do this, but just the fact that we have the 5 minute trend down here and we do have this demand zone here, I'm actually going to drop my stop loss just a little bit. I might regret this, but see what happens. 26,343. I'm having a hard time shaking my bearish bias right now on the midterm. But just the fact that that daily candle closed, well, I guess I shouldn't say closed because it hasn't closed yet. But here, let me just add that trend line again. That was the level we were looking to hold. Going to make it purple. And so, yeah. Even if we end up pulling down here, you know what? Maybe we do drop this 5 minute trend. We drop the levels I'm watching, and we just end up getting a bounce shortly after. Another thing I would be interested in watching would be Fibonacci levels. Again, you guys know I love the 786 and 886 Fibonacci pocket. So, I think that if we do end up correcting a little bit, I'd be interested in watching how we react with this level, as well as just seeing if we get some kind of a double bottom, anything like that, because yeah, there is some nice things going for Bitcoin right now. Here's another thing we did earlier today. Look at that beautiful bullish cross from the 1 hour and 5 minute trends there. Just basically skyrocketed from there. So the fact that we also have the 1 hour trend below us, if we end up getting to that level, you guys know another one of my favorite strategies, as I was talking about at the start of this video, finding these reversal warnings along these trends, and specifically the 1 hour trend. That can be such a powerful signal, retesting that level for such a tight stop loss. Like I was saying about the short I took the other day, man, you can get some nice positions that way. Obviously in a choppy market, it's not going to work perfectly. In a trending market, it's absolutely phenomenal. I've seen where we actually trend one direction, holding this 1 hour trend for, like several days or a week. And you just see that every time you get a reversal warning along it, boom, long entry, boom, long entry. I've had that happen in the past, and it's just such a phenomenal indicator when you do that. But yeah, there's different market conditions, different strategies, right? That 5 minute is curling up quite aggressively. I don't like, once again, the fact that we had this supply zone here that formed, as well as this moving average cloud has also flipped red. That being said, this is just the 1 minute, right? So that can flip flop fairly quickly. Yeah, it's not looking so bad though. That was a nice aggressive recovery there. As far looking at the longer term, I mean, we did finally get that rejection from that box there. I was saying, I think it was just my last stream. Quite honestly, guys, I was feeling fairly bullish. The fact that we were just slowly trading in this resistance box. I thought it was weird that, you know, for such a strong potential resistance level, usually bears are very quick to pull the trigger. And usually when you're seeing a sell-off, it happens very quickly. So it's weird that we traded there for a couple months before getting this dump. What did that dump take? A matter of a few hours, I think that took place. So it was just a bit of a build up there, and finally she let go. But again, the level we're at right now, not such a bad spot to be in. Looking back, kind of going back to market structure, you guys, I know I go over this in every video too, but it's so important. We had our low here, lower low here. This was our confirmed lower high of the bear market, and we broke that level and actually retested it perfectly back here. So I'm interested to see, let's just take the box of basically this wick zone, a kill zone. Just gonna take that across, and you know, I think that would be a beautiful level for Bitcoin to find support. I still don't know if it's gonna happen. The fact that we kind of got this M formation happening, wouldn't be too surprised to see us drop. If we do drop, I mean, we could really go for a drop, you guys. That's where we're starting to target closer to 20k, actually even slightly below possibly. And obviously it doesn't have to happen. I just, like, you guys know, I trade these shorter time, I shouldn't say these when I'm on the weekly. I like trading shorter time frames, but I don't mind zooming out, having a better view of the overall market, just being open to either scenario. You know, if we're on the weekly and we drop these levels, well, where's the next big weekly area to look for, right? So just looking for potential scenarios more than anything when I'm analyzing these larger time frames. Yeah, it's struggling a little bit here, but support is support until it's broken, so. Does anyone have anything you want me to go over also? By all means. I was just gonna, at this point, I'm kind of just watching the charts, showing you guys live as things catch my eye. We're just kind of gonna freestyle analyze this here, unless anyone has something specific. Pull up the 15-minute and the 5-minute TMA. Here, let me just open up another window here. On the 1-minute chart, I'm assuming. Sorry, I don't have the the 15-second chart like you. And I am jealous. Okay, let me just clean things up a little bit. Oh. Put my line back where it was. And the 5-minute and 15-minute, both TMA. Oh, we are squeezing, hey? So this must be the 15-minute TMA that's lining up nicely with this demand zone right now. And the 5-minute is obviously a little bit bearish. Actually, see, that would have been a nice scalp there. Reversal warning near that trend. Obviously, it's not valid until the candle closes. So right here, that would have been a beautiful short scalp. Stop loss, I'd probably keep it above this structure back here. Still fairly tight there. But yeah, that was a nice little scalp call with those settings. You've been on the 1 second lately. Nice. You, sir, are a proper degen, and I have so much to learn from you. I'm going to learn bad habits from you, I think. Love it. Love degenery. Yeah, looking like this cloud is showing a little bit of resistance here. But again, we haven't broke that support level yet. The 3-minute, should I bring up some more the way you do? Can I just duplicate this? Oh. Trying to get too many things on there. Oh, now I have all sorts of other shit up here, though. All right, let's... yeah, this is very quick, though. Candle color, I guess I can probably just... whatever, I'll keep it inverted. 3-minute TMA. What's another one I should throw in there? Specialist of multiple ALGOs. 1 minute. All right. Let's just close that one for now. Oh, the bears are back. We're breaking that support level. What do we have here? I'm assuming this is probably the 1 minute or the 3-minute. Are we missing one? We should have 5-minute, 15-minute. Oh, TMA. That might be why. 1 minute and 3-minute. So we actually got a 1 minute candle close below this level. So I mean, definitely possible that we just keep correcting to the downside now. But maybe it's a fake out. We do still have this 15-minute trend. We still have this demand zone here. But yeah, it is looking a little weak, not gonna lie. Oh, did I? Oh, yeah. Ha. Such a noob. There we go. Now we got some trends. Yeah, I love that you have all those up. You know what? Maybe today's the day. Maybe after this, I'm going to get all set up and have like 8 different trends on my charts just like you. 30-second trend. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Um, will that come up? That won't come up because I don't have the version with the degen, the proper degen time frames like you. Yeah, I was actually thinking about upgrading mine. I don't know. Um, I don't know if I really need to, but I am always jealous of the secondly charts. We do have this higher W. That's nice, but like I was already talking about earlier, I don't like that we have the mixed signals in here from up to down. We kind of got a break in a steady flow of a direction there. So yeah, it is nice that we have a higher low W here, but I'd feel a lot better about it if, like, or even back here, let's say we had some kind of, let's say we pulled back a little further and we had a W here, and then we would have the W's lining up on the bottom as well as the top. So in that case, this is what I consider a very strong buy signal because you have a nice tight stop loss just below the previous W, basically. But the fact that it's broken up here, I don't have a ton of confidence, to be totally honest. But like I said, there's no set way this strategy necessarily has to be done because, like I said, I've only been doing it for a few months. I haven't been doing it for a decade or anything like that. So I'm open to suggestions, but so far that's just kind of something I've noticed, that I like to see all the W's lining up a little bit better. Yeah, it's just looking like this support's flipping into resistance so far. But let's see if this demand zone can do anything, shall we? The 10-second is useful to see a rollover of the W before it happens on the 1 minute. If the last W bottom side is far away after a long run up and there's a higher one following, most often a lower W on the top side follows. Yes. Yeah, that's the thing too. If they're very spread out, like, that's another thing. I don't like how spread out these W's are. I like that we got a double W here, even though it is technically trending to the downside. I mean, this is micro analyzing, guys, but as far as the strategy, those are technically trending to the downside. But I have noticed that when there's two of them really close together like that, it can quite often cancel that out, that it is going to trend to the downside. That's quite often just a strong buy signal when they're side by side like that. Yeah, we just got a wick to the 15 TMA. Yeah, I wish there wasn't this lag sometimes. Sometimes on the 1 hour trend too, there's a bit of a lag. And then you kind of have to improvise where it would be. Oh, I don't have that up anymore. That's right. Back to my normal chart here. Let's look for, let's just very micro analyze things again, right? Just as far as this little pullback goes, I mean, we had this low, technically broke it. This would be a very micro analyzing lower high, but even getting a close above this level here would actually give me a little bit more confidence that I think we're going to have some kind of a pullback, at least, even if we are going to let me just pull this up. Even if we were just to set a lower high W, kind of in a supply zone, something like that. But if we get a close above this level, I think it would make sense that we would get a little bit of a bounce like that. Obviously, invalidation would be below where we've wicked, basically. How many of you guys have been kind of following the W strategy? I know, Pete, you've been mentioning it quite often. Definitely seen you have some success with it. Holy, getting tongue tied here. Does anyone need me to break it down again or anything like that, or are you sick of hearing about it? Yeah, honestly, it became one of my favorite strategies. When you can see the W's trending a direction and they test a trend, it can be so powerful. Let's go back to, I was talking about that big short that I caught the other day. This is going to be hard to find just because we're on the 1 minute and we have to go way back. But just to show you what I mean, we had a couple beautiful potential entries. Yeah, just fucking nailed that. And yeah, basically my reasoning for taking that short was we started trending right up to the 1 hour and seeing a bit of rejection here, just kind of flip-flopping along that level. And yeah, I pulled the trigger on a short as soon as we got this little bit of a double top retest here. Pulled the trigger on a short. Another great entry, and here's a good example of where the W's are all trending the same direction, you guys. Here we had the bottom W's start trending to the downside here. So reversal warnings, although bullish, they're actually just pointing out a downtrend here. And then followed by, we had this high and we set this lower high here. And look how beautiful of an entry that would have been as well. Obviously, I would have no interest taking these positions because they are still trending to the downside. But that's where I look for that lower high. And this is where I'm entering because the W's are trending to the downside. So I'm only looking to play the short side on the next W signal, basically. And man, what a call. Like I did enter before that one. Like I said, I was using the 1 hour EMA reversal warning strategy. But as far as the lower W strategy as well, I mean, that was such a fucking nuke call. And like I said, when I entered this position here, there was a bit of a supply zone up here. I'm just making this up right now because it's not there anymore, but it was there. When I entered the short, I basically just had my stop loss a little bit above the supply zone. Super tight stop loss for such a gigantic move that called. So that's why I say that, that's a powerful strategy. It doesn't work out every time, but man, like that's one of those times where a lot of people think you have to win 50% of your trades. But when you catch a trade like that, I think it was something like, even though I was taking profits along the way, like I by no means held the whole thing to the bottom, but I still ended up locking in profits that were something like 33 times more than what I would have lost had I been wrong on my position. So when you get that kind of risk reward, you really, actually, no, I think it was closer to 40 times. It was just insane. And yeah, obviously that's a home run trade and you're not always going to see that happen. But just even here again, you guys, you see these W's trending to the downside, get that lower high, boom, just another beautiful signal there. Yeah, it's become one of my favorite strategies for sure. I love it. So turns out we were quite a ways to the side there. Back to real life here. Oh, first timer here. Oh, welcome. Didn't even notice we had some new faces here. Did I kind of explain that breakdown there for you then? I just kind of went on that rant by myself here, but hopefully that all made sense. I can definitely clarify anything if you have any other questions about it. Basically just looking for which way the W's are trending and making sure that they're lining up with each other, right? If you're looking for a long, looking for the lows, the bullish W's, I guess we'll call them, both going higher, and as well the bearish ones also going higher. So you want the trend to be a green. That's when I notice that I have the best success with that. And again, see when you can line that up with a touch of one of the moving averages with the ALGO 3 or one of the trends, even better, just a little extra confluence. And that's the thing too, right? Like it's helping you pick out which direction the trend is going, because yeah, you can look at a chart and you can say, yeah, it's, right now we're clearly trending to the upside ever since, a couple hours ago. But when you see which way the W's are going in agreement with each other, that's where it really helps you to pick a nice tight entry. And when you can add that, even if you're not entering just based on that strategy alone, just using it for confluence can be so powerful. Let's say you see higher low W's. Let's say the tops start trending higher. You see, this is all going to be theoretical. Let's just go to a blank spot on the page here. Let's just say we get, let's say here, we get a W here. We get some kind of W, another W. So the tops have now, let's say, and the bottom, let's say we had something like that. This is where you take this as a warning that, hey, the trend might actually be reversing here. It's not necessarily a bullish buy signal at that point yet. But that's where you start to wait for, well, okay, so we pull back here and all of a sudden we get a slightly higher W. And now you have your invalidation is quite tight, right? So just have a stop loss, just a little wiggle room beneath the previous W. And then that way, obviously, you have them trending the same direction. So... but what's beautiful about that, and actually I don't know if I drew this perfectly just off a freehand, but that's where you can start adding other confluences, right? Like let's say Fibonacci levels. Let's just say this bounce, we're looking for, okay, where's it going to pull back to? Isn't that funny? My eye is just drawn to that Fibonacci pocket because I like it so much. But that's where, having that confluence, hey, we set a higher W right in the 786, 886 pocket. I mean, that's just another level that I typically like to watch. So you're just looking for that confluence. So just a few different ways to use that strategy, honestly, you guys. Also stop losses. I'm just going to be freehanding a few things. Hopefully you guys don't mind, just kind of because it's easier than looking back into the charts. Let's say we have a W, 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 and then all of a sudden we have a lower W. This is your warning shot. Rather, I guess this one would be your warning shot, just because all of a sudden you have a potential change in directions here. That's not your entry short. To get your entry short, that's where you want to see that, oh, hey, now we have these trending lower, but we also have these trending lower. And then you have a nice tight invalidation point, right? And then as, let's say, okay, you take this short, get into a beautiful position, and it just frickin' dumps. You get some kind of a bounce, you get another W, you just sell off again, get another W, something like that, and you're just, you know what, you nailed the trend reversal on that one. Beautiful play. And you've been holding on to this for the whole time. That's where I can start using these as stop losses as well. Quite often what I would do in this kind of a position, let's say I got into a short right here and we're trading all the way down here. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll break my stop loss in half and I'll just have, half my stop loss above this structure level, because at that point we might be setting a higher W. But then if I think, yeah, maybe that's adjusting my stop loss too soon, maybe it's a little bit too tight, then I don't mind just having the other half at the next structure point. So, there's so many different ways that you can kind of use my W strategy, if you want to call it that, reversal warning strategy. Just a few different things I like to use it for as far as confluence. So I don't know, hopefully you guys find that useful. I like using it. Like I said, it's not necessarily perfect, but it's nice to see that we did get that little bounce. What's unfortunate now is we are trading at a supply level, and it is right below. You know what? I am actually going to open up a bit of a hedge short here. Actually, let's wait for a W. I want to see a lower W since that's what I'm talking about. Let's not jump the gun here. We, like I said, we do technically have this lower W here. Let's see if we get some kind of a lower W. I can't stick around for like 2 or 3 hours like I have been in the past. Today I got some stuff going on, so I'll probably only be on for like 10 or 15 minutes here. So if anyone has any questions, want me to check anything, want clarification on anything I've been talking about, let me know in the next little bit here. Are you doing the W's on the 1 hour and trading on the 1 minute? Generally, I am just looking at the W's on the 1 minute. Like obviously, it doesn't hurt to zoom out and look at larger time frames and see if they agree with you. Obviously, that's better, even better confluence. I haven't gone that route too much. I've mostly just been looking at whichever time frame that I'm scalping. But as I said, I do have the 1 hour and the 5 minute trends up. So even though I'm not on the 1 hour chart, I definitely keep in mind this 1 hour trend. That's a level I love to play if we get a reversal warning along it. Okay, you know what? I'll also start a little bit of a short position. Why not? I don't know if we're going to sell off here, but we did get that lower W on the 5 minute trend. Yeah, let's see. If that signal's wrong, because we do have this green cloud flip in. Like I said, I don't know if I want to consider this a lower low, but we're gonna see if it backfires or not. But if we do end up pumping, then that long that I took earlier, luckily we never got stopped out, and luckily I did lower my stop loss there. If we do end up dumping again, then obviously my short is going to be sitting good. If we pump from here, then my long will be sitting good. So ideally these would be broken up a little bit more. So let's say we never did have this W. Let's say maybe this was a W and they're just a little bit more spread out. This is a little bit rushed, but whatever. It is what it is. I just like to share with you guys both the pros and the cons of what I'm seeing, right? So the TMAs, yeah, they are looking a little bit more bullish. Both my positions are on the same exchange. I have a long and a short open on MEX. MEXC is the exchange I've been using recently, since most exchanges have been really hard on us Canadians lately. You can have both open. I can't remember if I had to like specifically select hedge mode or if it was just a thing on MEX by default. But a lot of exchanges you can do that. Like I'm pretty sure when I used to use Binance, or not Binance, Bybit. You could do that as well. Yeah, actually, that's one thing with Mexi. When I made my account, I was restricted and I was not allowed on there. But I just used my VPN, made my account, and now they don't seem to give a shit whether I'm on my VPN or not. But usually I have it on anyways. Because, yeah, Canada's the same. Canada and the US are both very hard on us crypto people, obviously. Yeah, land of the fee. Yes, I also look at these arrows sometimes. I know I made them brighter on my other chart. I should do that here too. Um, oh, here we go. Um, are they not changing? Did I change the wrong thing? Oh, right. That was the got confused being I have a couple indicators open. Yeah, I consider those arrows as well. I take the W's more serious, but I definitely I don't mind having those little triangles up just because they're not very invasive. Like I generally like having a very clean chart, and I don't like having a whole bunch of clutter, which is why obviously I don't have like the long and short signals, the TPs, the trend exhausted, the all the divergences and stuff. Like you can tell, I barely have anything open on these charts. But I do like having those triangles, and I do find them to be quite good quite often. They those and the W's, I really like them. Again, it's added confluence, right? Like it's nice to see that hey, we got this potential top with this lower high W here. Right along this supply zone. Yes, it's just the 1 minute, so anything can happen, but it is nice seeing that little bit of confluence. Ideally, we stay below this level. Just because after we broke this level, I mean, this wasn't actually the higher low, but just since that was a bit of a structure break, I would like to see us stay below that as far as the short goes. Um, if we break that, then the long might be sitting pretty good. Oh, you use MEXC there as well, stock. Nice. Yeah, I had the same thing. I would definitely use the Alpha Pro exchange a lot more. Once there's a mobile app for it, I will be using it a lot more, but quite often I'm trading while I'm on the go, and I don't always have my PC with me, obviously. Um, so I've only used that a little bit when I'm kicking around the house, playing video games, scalping on the side, that kind of a thing. But when I'm on the go, I'm usually trading on Mex. The triangles are the tops and bottoms. Here, yeah, tops and bottoms here. Yeah, I haven't done much trading on KuCoin. I've only ever done any spot trading there. I've never done any of those leverage pairs, so I have no experience there. I'm not sure if there's a hedge mode there or not. Become a followed trader. Oh yeah, can anyone just do that? So then how does that work? Is that like I know for a while that was a thing on some other exchanges. So it would basically treat me as the bot. Like when I take trades, you would obviously pick how much you allocate to my trades or whatever, and then I think it would automatically copy mine. And then if I make money, then it also gives me some of your profits. I think, if I'm not mistaken, or is it a different? I can't remember what exchange I was first looking at that on. An affiliate introduce me to a handler that will hook me up with affiliate status. It's funny on Twitter, I've had so many people be like, "Oh, I'm from this exchange. I'm from this exchange," and I'm assuming 100% of them are scammers. But I was always wondering, like, how does that go if someone's gonna contact you for some kind of a deal, affiliate, that kind of thing? I don't know how that works. Interesting. And is there, like, could I have a sub, or like, can you split up your funds and be like, hey, I'm gonna have this account as my follow trader account and then a regular one, or would it just like follow everything? Because I'd like to only take my highest setup ones if I had other people banking on me. If I'm feeling extra degen some days. That's cool. I should definitely look into that. I'll definitely talk to you about that. Interesting. Yeah, that's cool. So, yeah, so people who are following you, you make a trade and then they make money and you get 10% of the profits they made. Or something like that. Yeah, that's cool. Well, the bulls are hungry right now. That was a strong demand zone down here for sure. Um, okay, yeah, yeah, that's kind of what I was picturing then. Nice, nice. So we got another reversal warning. Something we have to consider here is obviously that we did get this warning now, right? Or sorry, actually, this one hasn't closed yet. Forget I said that. But even if we do close this right now, we sell off a little bit, close this. Obviously, we do have a higher setting W on the top side. That's where you'd more so want to start looking for if we are going to get a higher W, something like that. As far as this strategy goes. And again, guys, obviously no strategy is perfect. It's not like it's going to nail it every time, but it's just one of those very structured setups that I look for that generally has a fairly tight stop loss. Especially if you can find them close together. Like let's say we pull back all the way to here and then get a W. So it's just obviously we have these trending higher, we would have these trending higher, and your stop loss would be so tight. So at that point, even if it doesn't work out, you take the loss, whatever, it's minimal anyways. So that's, again, just going back to risk reward, right? You don't have to win 60% of your trades or even 50% of your trades if you have good risk reward. Yeah, that's very cool, stock poker. I'm gonna look more into that for sure. I'll let you know when I need to be introduced to someone here.
We'll figure out a little more.
Just a heads up there, Joshua. I muted you just because your microphone's on, and I assume you don't want us to hear you. Um, I think I muted you for everybody. But let me know if you want to hop on the mic at any time. I can easily unmute you. That's totally fine. Yeah, no, that's very cool. And it looks professional as fuck. Forming this bit of a demand zone. got this bullish cross again. Green cloud. I'm actually, guys, it might be premature to do this, but I'm just going to take the loss on my little short there. This may be wrong, but this is just one of those times that when I'm unsure of something, I'd rather not be in a trade, so I'd rather take my very minimal loss from this position that I entered right here. Very small loss. Oops. But this is just one of those times where, like I said, I'm unsure about it because I did get this warning. So even though, yes, this may still be a shortable play here, I just don't really want to be in it at this point if we're getting this warning. It's just one of those times where I'm using this signal as risk management more than anything. Like if it becomes a real choppy market, maybe this strategy isn't going to work for the next little while. It was like earlier today, it was just absolutely nailing calls. But as soon as I'm unsure like this, getting mixed signals, I'd just rather not be in that short anymore. Yeah, little scalps, absolutely. The fees can get you. I think it's something like if you are. I think what I've noticed on mechs, anyways, is that basically if I can have my stop loss or end up closing my position or whatever at like 0.5% profit, it ends up covering the fees. I believe it is. I think it's 0.5%. But yeah, absolutely, they can nickel and dime you. And like I say, scalping just isn't. It's by no means for everybody. I took a small loss on that little one, but again, I'd rather just be out of it. And also, just since one of today's topics is risk management, that's just a good example of using these tools just to minimize risk. Even if it was the wrong decision, I'm happy I'm taking it either way. Yeah, exactly, Stock. I've been happy with mechs. Honestly, I've found the fees so minimal. Um, yeah, I don't know. I have mixed signals right now just because, like, part of me is feeling bearish as I think, we're coming up to. Here we go. Where are we here? Fibonacci pulled top to bottom. I mean, we're getting close to that 786, 886 pocket, but yeah, as it stands, we have a couple things going for us here. Again, I would really like to see us get some kind of a higher W like that. I think that would be nice for the bullish side of things. That's a good idea, Stock. Stock Poker. I will throw in my referral link just in case anybody does want to use mechs. Like I said, I don't know. I'm in Canada and I haven't had a problem. I've just had to make my account with a VPN. I haven't had a problem since. I know it's starting to get a little more difficult finding exchanges in North America that'll allow us to be degens. But I will throw that in here. I don't know if I can do that on my other device while I'm streaming here, but I will post it back in this chat after the stream here. Just as far as a basic structure lesson, once again, here's where really, again, super micro analyzing, but just as far as looking for an entry, if you know we're coming down to a buy level that you were interested in, quite often what I'll do is just wait for that, just a hint at a reversal, right? Here we obviously had low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Or sorry, that one was not a confirmed lower high until we broke this low. Lower high. As soon as we got that close above, that would be your buy signal as far as structure goes. So you could have got into a long right here. I obviously didn't exactly take that one, but that's where you'd have your invalidation down here. That's just super basic market structure. Lower lows, lower highs, and then a break of that structure and just how it can react. And again, looking for a rejection, if you're kind of just playing a swing based on structure like that, again, one of my favorite things to look for would be that Fibonacci pocket. Getting fairly close to it right now. If you were just looking for a very small scalp there, I shouldn't even say that. That would be a nice little scalp. Obviously, that's capped in hindsight, but just something to keep in mind for later. Ah, another fellow Canadian. Nice, nice. Looking at logarithmic. Let's take a look at the log. Oh, that's the chart I had up earlier. Compared to other market cycles, you know, and I will fully admit this, I was very much expecting our, I guess we'll call it bull trap to be way up here. I'm still not necessarily convinced we won't see this 618 and, you know, let's say sometime this year, maybe. Obviously, a weekly chart could take a very long time to play out. And there is absolutely the chance we just see a harsh rejection here and retest our lows. But since we did have that market structure break I was talking about earlier, just generally speaking, we end up seeing that 618 Fibonacci, and that's pulled top to bottom of the entire bear market, basically. Bull market top down to bear market bottom so far. Obviously, we could sweep these lows. I don't think it'll happen, but it could. And quite often we end up getting back up to that 618 rejection before getting a serious, significant pullback in the market. I mean, you can see that we did this last market cycle. I remember very clearly this happening. I was in the market since basically right here. That's basically where I entered the market. But a lot of lessons learned between now and back then. But yeah, as it stands right now, I mean, I still would expect us to see a higher Fibonacci level before we see, you know, an extreme reversal. Obviously, COVID had something to do with that later on, a few months later. But yeah, that 618 can be such a powerful correction zone. Like that bounce, I mean, there's no denying it, just picture perfect. Yeah, we wicked above it on the weekly very briefly. Even going back another market cycle, I mean, I don't know if you want to consider that the first big rejection, but it absolutely was a key level as far as a big rejection goes. Because, I mean, that was about a 40% pullback after we hit that 618. So, as it stands right now, I mean, I don't know. To me, it kind of looks like we're Where are we here? Interesting. So this is where obviously that structure broke last cycle. Carried on, and yeah, that 618 is where we just got devastated. Yeah, as it stands right now, honestly, I'm just kind of looking at these macro levels. Like, yes, right now, technically we're at support. If it doesn't hold, we could go down quite a bit lower here. But I do think if we do end up going to the upside, let's say, we did have a nice daily close today. It did close now, didn't it? Let's just take a look at that. Yeah, so there is absolutely the chance that we pull back into this candle, but I think it looks good. The fact that we actually closed a body above this level here, this little box even, it's nice to see that we got that close above that. So you know what? Let's say this is the reversal point in the market and we do end up going much higher. Just be cautious, you guys, if we do get up to that 618 Fibonacci resistance. I'm not saying we have to get there anytime soon at this point, but if we do end up getting some kind of a crazy pump for some weird reason that I don't know about, or just basic technicals get us there in the next few months, just really be careful around this level. Because as I showed previous market cycles, there's been very strong rejections at that level. Not only that, but we actually have structure to back that up. We have seen a big market sell-off after testing that last time on the way down in the bear market. So if we get near that level, just be cautious, guys. Try not to get too much FOMO, because I think there's a big possibility that, as we're getting near that 50K, I think FOMO is going to jump into the market, and I think that's just recipe to get absolutely nuked. And if that happens, I think we're coming right back down to damn near these levels. I think, and this is all theoretical, obviously none of this has to happen. This is just a gut feeling at this point. I think the first time we get up to this level, we pull right back to this blue box. I hope that we just end up trading on top of it and just flip the kind of this old resistance and all this old resistance and kind of flip that into support. Even if we dip into it, it's not necessarily the end of the world because we're coming at it from the opposite direction. But I'd really love to see us end up holding this where we currently got rejected as new support. I think that would be absolutely beautiful. But again, there's a lot of what ifs between now and then. That's just preparing well in advance. And I honestly just like to bring it up every stream because I want to make sure that it is drilled into my head. I really don't want to be one of the people getting suckered into FOMO right when what I think is going to be like the final bull trap kind of a thing. And when I say the final bull trap, that's just because looking back, you guys, look what happens when we don't see that rejection and we actually close weekly candle bodies above it. Like, look how beautifully we were just kind of wicking to that area, candle bodies closing below it, big sell-off. We come back up to it again. We close weekly candles above that level, and it is just off to the races. That's parabolic as soon as that happened, basically. And let's go back another market cycle. You can see the exact same thing. Yeah, we got a harsh rejection when we got to that level, but after we started getting candle bodies closing above that, we came back and retested it, but it was just off to the races, just parabolic from that. So this is one of those things why I want to prepare ahead of time that, I am expecting a bit of I shouldn't say a bit, I'm expecting an extreme pullback if we end up testing that level. But again, if we end up getting weekly candle bodies closing above this level, I am going to be extremely bullish. That's kind of my thought on the macro as far as this logarithmic chart goes. Oh, seeing a potential little double top here. Potential. Another higher high W, still no higher low. Ooh, stock poker. Yeah, that's me as well. I like to tweak my positions on the go. I like to ladder in. I like to take partial profits. Yeah, I'd probably have to actually stick to like very strict scalping if I were going to do the affiliate thing. In which case, I should probably do a little test run on myself before. Oh, Dust back. Welcome back. Bear flags, stock poker. I can see the possibility of that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, something to consider. We obviously still are setting lower highs, lower lows. I'm just going to clean things up a little bit here. By a little bit, I'm removing all of my lines. Just look at this 4 hour. So again, just going back to this W strategy, we had our W's going. We got a higher high, higher high, higher high, and then look what happens as soon as we switch that momentum. We got a lower high. How is this? This is actually very slightly lower as well. Very slightly, but it is technically a little bit lower. So we did have the lower lows. As soon as we got that lower high, boom, it was a beautiful signal there as well. And from that moment, I mean, again, this is just lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, nuke, lower high. Something to consider there. Again, and even on the bottom, right? We have, I guess here we had a bit of a fake out to the upside there. Like I said, not going to work every time. But then we had this low, at a lower low, and again, a lower low. So technically the W's are still trending to the downside on the 4 hour. Obviously, every trend breaks eventually. So if we start to see these things curling to the upside, let's say, all of a sudden we get another little push, we see these W's start trending to the upside, and then we see some kind of a pullback, and then we get a higher low W, something like that. Again, very theoretical, just something to watch for in the future, just kind of how I like looking at these W's with that strategy. So we get W's trending back to the upside on the 4 hour, I'm going to be very bullish. Again, just planning ahead of time. Yeah, Nvidia has been crushing it, hey? After hours, I know they had a big pump. Let's zoom out. Oh, I don't see the after hour price anymore, unless it's way up. No. I know I did see that after hours it was up like 8% or whatever earlier. Yeah, it's crazy. They had excellent earning reports there. I'm not normally a fundamental guy, but Dust, I was seeing what you were sharing in the chat there a little bit, and yes, it was looking quite juicy. Yeah, that is pretty much a bit of a double top. And you know, I never took it, but again, this is totally Captain Hindsight. Take it for what it is. But this would have been like, sometimes it's hard to keep up with every single strategy you're used to using when you're looking at a 1 minute. It's pretty easy to overlook things, but like I was saying, possible double top there when we got the W as well. That's just a little bit of added confluence there. Again, I totally never did it, but just a way in the future to look for that added confluence, right? So you got the double top, but you also have those reversal warnings there lining up with it, which is nice. But obviously, it's already too late to take that trade because on the 1 minute, like I said, a couple minutes later, it could be totally different. You're just hurting your own entry at that point. See if these demand zones can do anything. Whoa! Look at that. Would you just look at it?
Ja, ich hatte schon
Just get
mal
all excited over like
ganz
$30.
aktuell und dann wäre ich alles auch erledigt gewesen.
Oh, Pete, just a heads up. I was getting a little background noise there, so just for your own privacy, I muted you, but let me know if you want to talk later or anything. I can always unmute you. Yeah, Dust. I really do think Bitcoin looks pretty good on the daily. We did get that daily close earlier during this stream here. I was just talking about this, that we had this, even just, you know, if we would have just kind of wicked above this line and closed back down here, I would have been a little bit more pessimistic. But the fact that we actually closed candles above those wicks, yeah, I'm not considering this a lower high that we broke by any means. This is just a structure level, I guess. But what we also do have here, the oscillator 4 up here, we got this bullish pivot in the bright green band here. Oscillator 5 down here, we have a big green dot down here in the green as well. What is the ALGO 3? We have this this potential bottom signal here, this little triangle, and as well just these bright green candles, right? So there is definitely that. I love seeing all three indicators line up like this, all flashing green at us. That is great to see. I don't think Bitcoin's out of the woods yet because, I mean, obviously we have a ton of resistance up ahead. I mean, just look at all the supply zones that the ALGO 3 is pointing out for us here. And again, just going for a basic back test of structure. Something like that. Let's get these lines back up here. And what was my other line? It was something like that, which is something we're going to have to watch out for, honestly. I do like where this daily candle closed, absolutely, but there's just a couple things to watch out for because obviously, no matter what, no matter which way you look at it, Bitcoin does have some work to do to get a nice bullish breakout. Obviously, there's a ton of resistance up ahead, but yeah, I do like how that daily candle closed, though. I like the daily signals. And again, also just the fact that I mean, it lines up so good with this higher low on the daily time frame. It does line up perfect retest of that level, so yeah, it doesn't look too bad yet. Again, I'm cautious either direction right now. I really don't have a strong bias one way or the other as far as the long to midterm trend goes here. I'm open to both ideas. I've had some nice shorts the last little bit, but you guys know naturally I am more of a bull and I tend to favor the long side. But I've had some nice shorts lately, so I am open to the idea of doing either. Yes, you were talking the one time about retesting support that has broke. I assume you are basically talking about that's kind of what you're looking for, Dust, I assume. If I were a betting man, and I definitely am. Yeah, we're all a bunch of betting degens. No, I have noticed that we definitely look at charts very similar quite often. There's a lot of things that you say, and I'm always like, oh man, that's exactly how I would have mapped out that chart. So that's just kind of why I was assuming that's the level you're looking at. Bunch of degenerate gamblers. Oh yeah, baby. I would like to try and count this as a high or low, but we never, yeah, we never did break that with this. We didn't break it until here, so this is still technically the lowest point between the two. And I mean, we saw what happened back here. Obviously, there was a bit of a fake out there, and we very quickly ended up reversing that trend with this break here. So, I mean, it's a little flip-floppy right now. Depends just how tight of scalping you're willing to do, I guess. I tend to actually be in and out of positions quicker if I'm not with you guys. It just becomes a lot when I'm trying to talk to you guys, answer questions, explain what I'm looking at, setting orders, all that kind of thing. I like to try and leave them a little bit longer. But usually I'm very quick to close at least like a quarter of my position, a quarter to half. Usually I close very quickly. Which you probably saw before when I was out on the town. I had posted in real time a little bit of... was that the short I took? Yeah, it was the short I took. Let's go back and touch on that, why I took that short earlier. Where was that? Where was that? I think it was that way back here? No. No, it was here. A few hours ago, again, I was just pointing out the W strategy that we ended up setting lower low, and then we also had a series of lower highs, and we were below the 5-minute moving average. I ended up taking that short, and very quickly, I think it was like 6 or 7 minutes later, I was closing half my position already. It's usually the way I like to scalp on the shorter time frames, very quickly updating stop losses and getting taking partial profits and then updating stop losses, just so that, you know what, in that case you can get away with, even if you're wrong, you can actually make a little bit of money if you do it right. So it doesn't always work out for me either, right? Yeah, stock poker, I'm kind of with you on that. We end up getting that kind of a retest. We see something on the shorter time frames lining up, I would definitely I'll be looking at some heavy shorts in that level. Also up in this supply zone, you know, there's absolutely the chance that we get up higher and kind of retest this as more of our lower high. Either one of those boxes would make a lot of sense. I mean, there's just a ton of resistance up here, so I'll definitely be keeping my eyes on the shorter time frames, finding which way the W's on the 1 minute are trending, which way structure is trending, if there's a trending market going where we're breaking highs or breaking lows, whichever way we're trending. I would absolutely love to find some shorts if we get up here. Oh, yeah, that would be something if we saw. I know people watching this on my YouTube channel later can't see this right now, but yeah, that would be absolutely nutty to see Bitcoin drop down to like 4K. I personally think that the bottom is in for this market cycle, but obviously anything can happen. I've been wrong once. Just kidding, I'm wrong all the time. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is no matter how sure you are of something, like I am 90% sure that the bottom is in for this market cycle, but 5% of me has got to be open to the idea that I could be wrong. It's always just good. Have a backup plan. Just understand that no matter how positive you are of something, no matter how you're understanding things or looking at things, you can always be wrong. Usually the people who tell you something is going to happen for sure are the people that I don't listen to. I know it's funny when you're on social media and YouTube and all those kinds of places, when you see people kind of giving both scenarios, and then you see people in the comments saying things like, oh, you're saying it could go up or down. Well, yeah, absolutely it could go up or down. Anything can happen, and it's a very reactive market. Like I said, I don't like setting blind orders. I like to see how things happen when certain levels are touched and reacted with, because I think it's I don't know. I'm getting flustered even thinking about it. It's a million times more important to be able to react in this market than it is to predict. I can predict all day, every day, but unless I react to those predictions, it's pointless. Yeah, COVID 2.0, they're already talking about restrictions and shit that are probably going to end up happening in the winter. I'm curious to see who's all going to actually listen this time, because I think people are kind of fed up with governments lately, but we'll have to see. I'd love to see that kind of volatility. I don't care if it's up or down. I'd love another COVID dump followed by another COVID pump. Yep. Like I say, all volatility is good volatility for traders. Yeah. Yeah, don't go broke on the dip, and hopefully you can afford to buy shit at the bottom. Oh shit, I said I wasn't going to let this turn into a 2 hour stream because I have shit to do. Actually, doing something interesting this weekend. I'm going to be gone for a couple days. Me and the girlfriend and a buddy of mine are going to kayak and paddleboard down the river. We're planning on doing about a 50-kilometer downstream paddle. We're going to just camp out on a random beach that we find. It should be a lot of fun. We've been talking about it since last year, so we're finally pulling the trigger. As long as weather works out, we're going to do that this weekend, so that would be a lot of fun. So if you don't hear from me after that, just assume a bear got me or something. North River. I guess you'll know the area, Dust. I think we're going to float from Maymont to Langham, approximately. You'll have to join us next year. I'm sure we'll do it again. So yeah, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap up here. Unless anyone has any last minute questions, you need anything clarified. It's too bad that we never saw a perfect example of the W strategy playing out during the stream. I mean, we got a couple earlier today that I had mentioned in the chat, but yeah, like I said, not going to work out every time, but so often you can get such nice tight stops or these early warnings that, hey, even though I took a small loss there, obviously I avoided the rest of this move because I was going to be stopped out just above this, which basically would have just wicked me out. So I obviously cut that loss short. Just a bit of risk management there, using the same strategy rather than an entry. Yeah, it was so volatile right before the stream, and then it kind of slowed right down, unfortunately. But what can you do? Hopefully some of these strategies I talked about, hopefully things make sense. Hopefully you found something useful. Even if it's not something that I was talking about, but something that I said just hit you in a certain way that it made you clue into something. I mean, that's good too. But yeah, hopefully you came out of this with something positive. Yeah, as it stands, guys, like I said, I really like the daily close. I like that all three indicators are kind of lining up, giving us a bunch of green here. I wouldn't be too surprised to see us actually pull back into this candle, though. I mean, that would not be all too uncommon at all. But I do like where this daily candle is sitting. I do think Bitcoin has a ton of work up ahead. We obviously have this big red resistance cloud above us, and on top of that, just big red supply zones. So there's a ton of resistance up ahead, but it is some good first steps here, and I will be watching shorter time frames to see which way those W's are trending, and I'll be taking those very seriously. So that's kind of, and yeah, like I said, my favorite strategies have been just finding those reversal warnings along the 1 hour EMA trend, as well as just which way they're trending. I've had some very good success with that the last week or so here. Well, I mean, they've become my favorite strategies for quite a while, but just with this recent volatility, man, it has really shined for me. So I've really enjoyed using those strategies. So, with that, my friends, I think that's all I have to say today. Thank you so much for tuning in again, and we'll do it again next week. And yeah, other than that, have a good rest of your week. Crush those markets. Have a good weekend, guys. I'll still be around. I'll obviously be in the chat and stuff like that. But yeah, with that, anybody here who may be new, if you aren't aware, I also do have my own YouTube channel here, StuTube Trading, all one word. I do post these streams here after they're uploaded. It usually takes a couple hours, but whatever, it will be here. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel a little bit later, because obviously not everyone's here live with us, but if you're watching this on my YouTube channel later, if this kind of thing interests you, just having these live coaching events, I'm by no means the only coach in MDX Crypto's VIP. There's a handful of us that do daily live streams. Very active traders in the Discord group. Everyone's very helpful, very friendly. Everyone's sharing strategies and that kind of thing. So if you do like the look of these indicators that I use every day, and as well, just honestly, I think more than half the value is actually getting to talk to well, not just the coaches, but everybody in the group. Just there's so much experience in this group. That there's a ton of value there, and if that interests you, there is a 15% discount in my referral link down below in the comments. So yeah, with that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.